welcome to Weekly Wednesday Podcast. I like to do a podcast every midweek, and then later we normally have Living Live with Hope and myself on Living Live on Instagram and on Facebook. And that's okay. If you miss that, you can always catch the podcast that comes out after that too. So today, everything Weekly Wednesday comes up, and today is the 75th anniversary of us landing on D-Day, on Normandy, or the beaches of D-Day. And what was D-Day? D-Day is the liberation, or D-Day is the destruction, or D-Day is the day we defeat Nazi Germany. But D-Day is definitely destruction. Okay. For whatever reasons you have it, for whatever reasons we've lost so many women and men for combat reasons and reasons that we know that we believe to be have causation. Be that as it may. In 1945, when the bombing of Hiroshima, now, why did I pick 1945? Because if we're talking about D-Day, and we're talking about Nazi Germany, but we're not talking about Hiroshima. We've been through wars ever since the inception of the Americas, and even throughout the globe, with the sailing seas, we've had conflict of people taking over of power over systems. So this is nothing new. But here's where I think it's been taking its toll on. When you have different synapses and neurotransmitters trying to connect the other parts of the brain and to trigger other things. And then we have emotional states that are connected to it that we have not talked about. We have historical education that has either misled us or misguided us down different paths that we did not know we were taking until we got there. Being non-political, and non-political as best as I can, who is guiding who? And if that's the question I can ask you, is your emotions guiding you? Is your feelings understood? Are you being driven by information that directs your emotional state? And if that's the case, then your body is responding to your direction. In the martial sciences, we teach on the levels of understanding what your intention is, what your direction of intention is from the beginning. That's why we've always studied the mind and the human spirit. And that's why throughout all of our Budo systems and all of our many beautiful women and men out there who are studying and teaching and learning the art, the basics of the art is not just honor, but know thyself. And only till you know thyself, you know where you stand in where you are, who you are, when you are. Those takes, yes, a dedicated practice. But outside of that, we have different chemical responses that happen to us. We have anxiety, we have depression, we have love, we have fight or flight, and all these are done by the different chemicals in our body, and those chemicals in our body have a reaction, right? We have different serotonin levels, we have different dopamine levels, we have different oxytocin levels, we have different levels that rise that contributes or fuels the action of what we do. Did you know that the same level that a schizophrenia has in their body is the same dopamine that's in love? And their dopamine level is so high that they've been diagnosed with schizophrenia. So there are things that we have also oxytocin in our body, and that also blocks a lot of receptors because it kills a lot of good things that are happening, so they're blockers. Here's my point. If we are addicted to trauma, whether it be for good reasons or bad reasons, are we addicted to trauma? Are we addicted to the creation of the chemical response we have to trauma? We should honor the fallen. We should honor the living. We should honor human beings. That's not what this is or is not about. But if we are addicted to trauma, then we are causing a lot of fear, and it's directing how we are living our lives. And that is the problem. Because even the brain has to create, the brain uses 25% of energy of our body. It just does. 25%. And if it doesn't get cleaned, because it gets cleaned through the lymphatic system, the lymph nodes, it has a drainage. And if we are keeping that filled with waste, then how are you producing health in your mind? How are you working on cleaning the neurotransmitters? I have my personal practice, and with Buddha behind me, I am a Buddhist. And we do practice on a daily basis between our prayers and the actions of living right, breathing right, talking right. And that is to help us with that waste removal, because it does come up. Those feelings do come up, and they do happen where it can cause sickness, cause sadness, it has cause. So I'm not going to go with the list, and people know the list. People understand what the list is. There's so many things. Say, take this, do this, and feel happy throughout your day. Great, awesome. I hope you try them. Hope they work for you. And I hope it, because something does work for someone and some things doesn't work for others. But if you don't know who you are and what it manifests from and how it's being derived from and how it's entering your body and how you're expelling it from your body, you're going to go through a list of tries. When really, what you should be, what you could be, I apologize, what you could be trying is finding out who you are. Does that take time? Yeah, especially when you got to go work, especially when you're in traffic, especially when you're laying on that horn. I had an idea once, and I was telling someone, I said, I don't wish, but if the people who had discomfort or not healthy thoughts, whether it be aggression thoughts, doesn't matter. And what's an unhealthy thought? Aggression. Aggression's unhealthy. Depression is an unhealthy thought. It happens. It could be chemical. It could be environmental. But when you start to really dig into yourself, right? It can. When we have not compassionate, those things that you get sick like a cold. You start sneezing like a cold. You start blowing out mucus and achoo, and things just come out. And that's just coming from the action of your thoughts. If our bodies did that, we would recognize how often we're sneezing. We would recognize how often we're not feeling well. And we would pay more attention to the action of being healthy. Because when you have a cold, then all of a sudden we're taking vitamin C, people are taking more zinc, people are drinking more orange juice, people are hydrating more, people are eating less meat because of what meat does to the body, but you eating more green vegetables, creating more oxygen, stretching more, oxygen more, so the body can heal itself. And after we feel better, and our neck, if we have a stiff neck, doing all that stuff, we were like, oh, but when we feel better, we're right back to doing the same stuff over and over again until what? We get sick again. So if we're not being well mentally, emotionally, what happens if we started sneezing? That would be pretty cool. Then we would pay more attention. Then we would know when we were at work and a coworker said something and it reacts in our body and we just blow out a bunch of mucus because of what you're thinking up here. Picture that. Picture that. See how that would work for you. No lecture, please. Not at all. I'm just sharing. I think we have enough death in our lives. We have enough trauma that happens in our lives. And we will definitely have to understand not to overcome it, but to absorb it and to move through it and to embrace it. Things are being attacking to you on all accounts. There are all this news and media and things that happen. The environment is a constant barrage of not such good things. It doesn't matter how we absorb our lives, but it does matter how you are getting rid of the waste. Okay? Learn how to get rid of the waste. So, I want you to take from this podcast, and I want you to learn how to get rid of the waste. I'm Dr. Paul Dyer, and if you have any questions, you can always contact me at drpaulholisticscience.com, and I will be happy to help you. Thank you for Weekly Wednesday.